Hi, I am 𝙎𝙤𝙨 BSEd Mathematics IV, and as my SCAP name, I am also called as 𝙎𝙤𝙨. Someone asked me if I do give value to life or any living things. Yes, of course, because my life is the most important thing I have right now. It is the reason why I am right here struggling for success. And our life also gives us the opportunity to serve Him, to serve our God. And serving Him, it is also by taking care of His environment. We owe this life to our God. And so, let's do our best thing we can for our life. For my background, I do live in a rural places or rural community. I do not live near the sea coast or any mountains, but near the riverside. And a lot of environmental changes I can observe in our place. One is about flood. Before, we are not prone to flood, but right now, every time there is rain, there is flood. That is maybe because of illegal cutting of trees or of course of pollution. I do hope that we could lessen pollution as we take care of our environment and the places we live. There are positive effects and negative effects for environmental changes. The negative effects of environmental changes are, of course, it may cause pollutions, climate change, and the loss of biodiversity. While the positive effects of these environmental changes is that it could give more civilized community, and that is because of human influences. Being a steward of God's creation is like being a caring person. It is like taking care of our environment and doing the right thing. And doing the right thing includes cleaning our surrounding, stop illegal logging, and of course by planting more trees. And as a SCAN, I can be a gift to God's creation by being a steward of God's creation.
Hi mga utod! So I'm Jade Villanueva, Diary from UNOR College Unit. Currently taking up Bachelor of Science in Medical Technology second year. So I have here some of the questions which I'm going to reflect to as to the season of Asia. Okay. So first question is, do you value life or do you value living things? Aside from being a medical student, which our first response of service is to save lives someday. Yes, mga utod, I do value life. I believe that life is the most precious gift that God has given and shared to each one of us. Imagine if the world has no life, if the earth, wala sang taho, wala sang sapat, wala sing tanong. The earth would look like blank space, like meaningless. So it is life that beautifies the world, mga. I lived in Don Salvador, Benedicto. Trees and green environment is not new to me. So I always hear the sound of crickets every evening. I always saw flying butterflies in the gardens. So that is the surroundings that I grown. So as for me mga utod, let's first talk the negative side. So as to my town, which is the Salvador Benedicto, the negative environmental change that I've observed is that there were forest areas before that had been turned and transformed into industrial business in the present days. So that is so sad to see and so sad to think. Nga sa una, daw pa na da puno sa mangga, daw pa na da amo ng crops. But then again now, look at that. It is transformed into establishments and businesses. And the positive environmental changes that I've observed, mga utod, is in the church, mga utod. And it is originated from the diocese. So, the Salvador Benedicto is part of the Diocese of San Carlos, and the Diocese of San Carlos has this formed this certain ministry which is called Lunhaw. So it is more focused on the preservation and the development of environment, which gina-encourage gid mga utod ang every vicariate and every parishes that is within the Diocese of San Carlos to have a certain ministry in their parishes. And what's good about that mga utod is that here in Salvador Benedicto, our church has that certain ministry that is more focused on environmental betterment and environmental development. So that would be the positive change that I've observed nowadays. So for me mga utod, the stewards of God's creation is someone that value life, that see life as the most precious gift above all things. And this someone has the ability to see through the necessity of environment. What is the real need of the environment? What is the real health status of our Mother Earth? These certain stewards, he or she was able to formulate a action, even in a simple way, mga utod, no? In a simple way that he or she can make a change, no? In the certain observation that he saw in the environment. So, as for me, mga utod, I can be a stewards of God's creation by simple means and of course by greater means also. And simple means, mga utod, by only segregating my garbages, separating the biodegradable from non-biodegradable. And of course, mga utod, by being responsible with my trashes. So, always, mga utod, we should always keep in mind that we should be responsible and we are accountable in our trashes. So, dapat iputi siya mga utod sa trash bins. And it's sad to say, no, na subong, people nowadays, they normalize na lang yung mga utod ang paghapoy sa basura. So, in our simple ways, mga utod, it could contribute to a greener earth. And by greater means naman, mga utod, by joining, by participating, and giving my time, mga utod, sa certain activities and advocacies, no, that this CAT organization, that the church, and of course that of the government na gina-offer, na ginapangayuan, mga utod, sang bulig, no, sa mga youth na mag-participate. So, also mga utod, one of the simple, common, and the greatest factor that would help our environment or the necessity of our environment is by planting trees, mga utod. So, we should plant trees, mga utod, tidya, because that is one way for us, mga utod, to balance, no? Balance those areas that had been transformed into establishment and those areas that remains as forest areas. Only our time is the greater means na mga utod to be as stewards of God's creation. Only if we have to separate a specific time that is for the needs and necessities of our environment. Okay, once again mga utod, this is 𝙧𝙖. Thank you again for choosing me to reflect these questions. I've also learned a lot, and I hope that you also learned a lot from what I have reflected to, and of course you yourself would also reflect those questions, feel those questions, so that you yourself, no, could discover that you are a steward. Right from the time that you were born, you are a steward of God's creation. And let us take part of this action towards better environment. Good day, mga utod, and God bless.